I'd like to call to order the Common Council meeting for February 24th, 2026 at 6 p.m. Attendance roll call.
Alderpersons Wolf,
Here.
Hamel,
Here.
Decker,
Here.
Bryce.
Here.
Alderperson Schrader is absent. Alderperson Dilge,
Here.
Madden.
Here.
We have a quorum present.
Thank you. Statement of public notice.
Just came in. This meeting was noticed on Friday, February 20th, 2026. The agenda was amended and noticed again on Monday, February 23rd, 2026. Both notices are in accordance with the open meeting law.
Thank you. Communications from the mayor's office.
Doing public, are you?
Oh, I'm sorry, public comment. So I got a couple of public comment forms. However, we have a public hearing. So if you're here to talk about the WCA, you would go for the public hearing. That's when you talk. Public comment would be if you want to talk about anything else on the agenda. Does anyone want to talk about anything else on the agenda besides what you're probably all here for, which is the water thing? You do. That's the public hearing. Anyone else? Okay. Public hearing or public comment, there's no one for that. Communications in the mayor's office. Hesitant to bring this up, but I have to. What we do up here is inherently political, but politics are not supposed to be up here. If there's something going on that you don't like that a staff is doing, the only ones that direct staff are myself and the Common Council as a whole. If you guys don't like what's going on with that, it's either you have beef with the Common Council as a whole or me. Do not take this out directly on staff. We have, I'm going to call her out. She's not here tonight, but I wish she was. Alderman Schrader has now filed 2 ethics complaints with the State Bar Association on our city attorney because she doesn't like what I'm doing. Jeff has nothing to do. He's an employee and gets directed upon. If any of you have any issues with what our staff members are doing, please bring it to my attention. And if you have and you don't like it, well, then go to the Common Council, ask for an agenda item. We have a process for that, and we go through, and maybe the council will direct staff to do differently. But filing ethics complaints with for our employees because you don't like what I'm doing messes with their livelihood, and it is uncalled for and unethical. And Alderman Schrader, I hope you watch this tonight because that is unheard of what you are doing right now, and it's ridiculous. And that ends my communications from the mayor's office tonight. Public hearing. We'll have a public hearing to consider the petition of Brian, I'm going to really screw up your name, Schoenlieber and Dan Reichert from Autumn Pen LLC to rezone the following area. Tax key number 22559790002 Ryan Drive. Vacant proposed subdivision known as Gulfview Estates from RSE Suburban Estate District to RS2 Suburban Resident District for the purpose of developing a 19-lot single-family subdivision. This request also includes an amendment to the comprehensive plan from low-density residential land use to medium-density residential land use. All those wishing to be heard will come up after Adam gives his little spiel here and explains what this is about to us, and then we'll give you an opportunity to air your thoughts on this matter. Adam.
Thank you, Mayor. So yeah, as the mayor stated, this is a rezoning request on the north side of Ryan Drive. This property has been in front of the Plan Commission and the Common Council numerous times, dating back originally at least 2006. There have been a couple different proposals as the developers kind of trying to figure out what works best for them and what they want to do with this property that they currently own. Past approvals had varied anywhere from 15 lots on a lower end to 19 lots on a higher end. Within the last year or two, the developer kind of has picked this project back up. You know, it was kind of hot and heavy back in the early 2006 era. But in the last couple of years, like I said, it's kind of come back again. And in the last few years, there's been a few different options. The most recent option the developer explored before this current option was a conservation plan development. That allowed 19 lots, but there were certain conservation principles that the developer had to do as a condition of that, which as they've developed their construction plans, they realized financially it wasn't making sense, right? Development has to make sense. So what they decided to do is they have now approached the city for another option, and they want to rezone the property, so that's what the public hearing is for tonight, to change the zoning, to basically kind of forget about their last plan, as it doesn't really work for them, and rezone from the RSE to the RS2 designation. To give you a lay of the land, RS2 equals 20,000 square foot lots, as long as your lots have city sewer, which they would have to have here, and minimum average widths of 110 feet in width. To kind of give you a comparison, the developments that are on the south side of Ryan Road, so Champions Village, St. Andrews, and I think it's Muskego Lake Estates, the Burback development, all of those either have the similar zoning or a more dense zoning. To give you comparison, those districts are either RS2, RS3, which is more dense, or a planned development for multifamily, which are more dense yet. So what they're asking for is found in the general area. It is not currently found on the north side of the road, and that's kind of where the land use amendment change comes into play. Right now, boundary lines have to be drawn somewhere, and right now Ryan Road on the plans is a boundary line. The area generally north of Ryan is shown as low-density residential in the future land use map, and the area south of it is a mix, predominantly medium-density residential. And what they're asking for is that same land use that's designated right now as medium on the south side of the road on their property. The rezoning approval doesn't guarantee any certain number of lots, even though they do have a proposal that was included in the submittal for 19-lot layout. The approval, if it were to be granted, a couple weeks from now, doesn't guarantee a lot count. It guarantees a lot size, area, and width. What they do with that is up to them, but right now they're showing a 19-lot layout. So that's what I have.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to be heard on this matter? This is separate from the WCA. Come up one at a time, state your name, address, and then speak. Now, before you start, I just want to address this to everyone. This is a public hearing, meaning we only get to hear, we can't talk back. Your information is one way. We do take notes about what you're saying, and if there's an agenda item later on that we can talk about and address some of those things, we will. Otherwise, we can get back to you. If you leave your name and address, staff can get back to you, or if you email us your concerns as well. The idea of a public hearing is to be heard. So we want to hear what you have to say. We want to be able to react to it. So I know everyone thinks whatever things are done deal, they're not. This is something that we will go through, and it's part of the process. So that being said, state your name and address, please.
Sam Steffen, S95W.
Oh, wait,
Adam, is that on?
Adam, can you turn that on?
The mic.
I think you just got to get right up to
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sam Steffen, S95W13457, St. Andrews Drive. I saw this development's been in works for some time. A couple of questions I'd like to submit. First one is going to be stormwater runoff issues. We've had overtopping on Ryan Drive from the farmland on the north side where this development is over to our side, and it's happened a couple of times. May of 2020 was a really bad one. I just want to make sure that this development is not going to make the issue worse. Hopefully we'll make it better. Second item I have is the walking path. I see that there is a walking path on that. I want to make sure the walking path is actually going to have public access, and if the walking path will be built all the way out to Boxhorn as they were talking about. Another issue is going to be additional traffic on Ryan. Right now, since 2004, we've added 95 residences to that. What does that do as far as the roadway condition itself right now? The roadway is showing some signs of wear. Not terrible, but I'm worried with this additional development, we're just going to be beating up that road some more. Along with that, if in fact they do work on Ryan Drive, consideration to accommodate a street walking path. I realize the separate standalone walking path is pretty much a no-go based upon the design cost, everything. I would ask if you do consider a walking path, take a look in the city of Franklin on Church Street, east of St. Martin's Road. They added a couple of feet to the side of the road. It seems to be accommodated very well with the road design, and it provides some safety for the people. Another item would be Previous development down the road, Muskego Lakes Estates, the contractors are extremely reckless driving. We've had several issues with these drivers coming to and especially leaving work. They are speeding. They're going in excess of 40 miles an hour on the street. They're not paying attention to people pulling out. I would ask that you address the driving issues with the developer, and also, is it possible to have police provide some enforcement if necessary? Dirt and dust mitigation, I'm concerned with the amount of construction going on over there, and they'll probably be doing the work in during a dry time. Will the developer be providing some dirt and dust mitigation, such as watering down dirt while they're doing construction? Last item I have is just asking, we're on force mains out there for sewers. Does the force main currently have sufficient capacity for this development, and does that affect the reliability of the force main? That's all I have.
Thank you. Whoever wants to go next?
Hi, Rich Nemec, W136S9535 Brookview Court. My comments have to do with traffic. Sam mentioned some of the contractors speeding on Ryan Drive. There's a lot more people than just the contractors. School bus drivers, police go a little fast sometimes, sorry, and other residents down the road also. But my main concern is exiting onto 00. It's hard to get out onto 00 with the traffic sometimes. You've got traffic coming east on Ryan Drive. You've got traffic trying to get out on west on Ryan Drive. Some of the people are going straight across. Some of the people are trying to turn north onto 00. Trucks are moving down 00 very quickly. Some people aren't patient, and 2 cars on one side will go out before 1 car on the other side. So it's just a general traffic issue. My main question is, on that, the plat where it shows the 19 lots currently, there shows an exit point heading toward the east on a smaller road within that property, which kind of indicates it would go into other possible housing in the future. Is there any plan for another exit onto 00 from this area that would exist between, there's an existing home to the south and a corral to the north just across from the small golf course. Is there any plan for cutting a road through there to ease some of the congestion that might occur with more construction in that area?
Okay, thank you. And when you're stating your address, if you could just slow down a little bit because we're writing it down, so.
Okay, good evening. My name is Neil Wallach, address 12701 West Windridge Court, apartment 103. That's New Berlin, Wisconsin, 53151. Received a notice for public hearing here regarding the rezoning of the subject property. My interest here this evening, I own the adjacent property to the west of the proposed development here in the zoning change. I have a tax key number on that if you're interested in that. It's directly to the west of this parcel. Development enters on Ryan Drive, shows the potential contingency to the north and to the east. My property is directly to the west, which basically runs along the lot lines there, joint lot line, lots number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 for identification there. And I had followed some of the things there through time as well, and just here for information and some more thoughts on just what might all be involved with the zoning change or proposed zoning change now. as far as drainage, any hedgerow line in there, et cetera. So more looking to gather information or some thoughts in that regard, and being kept informed on what things may develop on that. My purpose for being here this evening. Also, with the entrance to subdivision on the south, access showing on a possible stub road development to the north, and again to the east, it would be a point of interest for me if that might be something that would be considered on my end of things, whereas that perhaps a stubbed road might provide access to my property, which would be west of the development here, and perhaps beyond that, as it does on the other two shown stub road cul-de-sacs. So just something else I wanted to mention as a point of interest I may have, seeing whether that's something that might be in planning or in future. And with that, I guess I can yield back.
All right, thank you, sir.
Alrighty, thank you.
Does anyone else wish to be heard on this matter? So the Common Council will be having the first reading of this ordinance later tonight. At that time, Adams, I see him busily scribbling down some of these questions. He might be able to answer some of these tonight. The second reading will be the next meeting, which is March 10th, I believe, is our next meeting. That would be the second reading of this ordinance. If we don't have answers tonight and you want to, you can contact Adam's office or contact me, and I can get you the answers. Otherwise, they'll be addressed at that meeting, but we'll try to get most of them answered tonight. Can't hear. Oh, and this will also be at the Plan Commission next week. So, that being said, we'll move on to, I will declare that public hearing closed. 1 second. Now we're going to have a public hearing to consider the area-wide water capacity assessment for water service in the city of Muskego, Waukesha County, Wisconsin, 20th Amendment WCA District. Scott, where are you? Yeah, there he is. So Scott will introduce what this is and what this isn't. As he's setting up here, I will just explain some of this. So I know a lot of people are concerned, like there's going to be forced hookups for water connection, things like that. I believe, Scott, you're going to cover some of that? All right, I won't steal your thunder then.
Good evening. So we are here tonight to discuss the City of Muskego will be amending the Water Capacity Assessment District, WCA, due to the installation of water main for the Kirkland Crossing subdivision. This will be amendment number 20th. So again, everyone should have in what we attached in the package. Just for a little history, we did a public information meeting on October 14th, 2025. We talked about a preliminary resolution on January 27th, 26th, and now we're holding a public hearing February 24th of 2026. We provided handouts to probably over 1,200 residents to discuss this. The amendment area number 20, as you can see, is highlighted, is this whole white area right in here, okay? The last one that we did was Amendment 19. Again, as I said, this is being driven by Kirkland Crossing subdivision. Why are we doing a bigger amendment than just Kirkland Crossing subdivision?
Scott, 1 second.
Yep.
We all have this in our packet. Why don't you turn that around so the audience
As long as
can
everyone
see?
has it,
Yeah.
I will then go over it again. And everyone should have this in your packet with everything. And then I did a big one to show like the whole thing, and then I broke it down. Can everyone, let me try to
under public
back it up
hearing.
a little bit here. Everyone can see it now? And I'm just highlighting this area right here. Okay? That it would be amendment number 20, okay? Number 19 was everything here in blue, and that happened about a year ago, all right? So, The WCA district, which is the Water Capacity Assessment District, is an area proposed to be served by municipal water sometime in the future. The properties adjacent to the Kirtland Crossing subdivision and surrounding properties are not currently in the WCA district. Therefore, amending the WCA district is required. Why it's required is they have public water, going to have public water for that subdivision. If we're not in the district, they can't join the water utility and be part of the water utility. So that's why we have to amend the district. That's what's driving this, okay? So the surrounding properties are also included as part of this amendment as a formality. Again, Common Council let us to do a large area. That's why we're adding all these other additional homes next to it. You will not be forced to connect to municipal water except on point of sale and if water is available. Okay, let's describe what water available means. That means basically if the water main is in the front of your house and we can get pressure. In this area, some of these the houses, we cannot get pressure, which means there's just not enough pressure for you to be on the second floor of your house and then run a shower. So that's why we say we check two things. First, water in front of your house. Second is pressure. The Kirkland Crossing subdivision developer completed an extension of water main as part of the subdivision. The project extended on Martin Drive approximately from Oak Hill Trail to Copper Oaks Drive. If your home is not in the project area, you will not have water available to you at this time, okay? So, again, what that means, this is just amending the district area. There is no plans by the city now or in the future or anything to extend water any more than just down Martin Road to Kirkland Crossing. Just to let you know, there is no plans to put water in any other area in this amended area except for just down Martin Road into Kirkland Crossing. That is the only water that will be available at that time. Okay.
All right.
Also, too, just to let everyone know from a public hearing, I have answered a lot of questions, which is great. People have called me up. Mostly the main questions have been, do I have to hook up the water? The couple other questions is, when will I be getting water? Because some want to be on public water main, some do not. So I've answered at least 30 questions in the last 2 days. I know we've done a lot with social media as well. I answered even one call about an hour ago. So they're still coming in, just to let everyone know.
All right.
All right?
Thank you. I'm sorry, what? Can you provide the answers? We will be. This is covered later on in the agenda tonight. So what we're going to do is we're going to allow you guys to come up and ask, or not ask, but state whatever you want to say. If you have questions, state those while you're up here. We're taking notes, and then we can address it when it comes up in the agenda later on tonight. Make sense?
Please read your addresses slowly so I can get them down. Thank you.
All right. Who wants to go first? Are you Brendan?
Brandon Bonsack.
We have your stuff, so.
I got your name.
You good?
But please, you still need to say it for the record.
Oh, S71 W19154 Hillview Drive. All right. We'll start with this. It's unfortunate not many attend the various city meetings. I'm guilty as well. As a result, I posted on the Facebook main page and got a better understanding of people's opinions as well as to be open-minded. The WCA newsletter advises the properties adjacent to the Kirkland Crossing subdivision and surrounding properties are not currently in the WCA district. So they're looking to amend it and to include surrounding properties as a formality. I question what your definition of formality is. If it's a formality, wouldn't you want to realize that that probably comes into reality? And so, in other words, are we taking these additional properties all the way across the lake, at least where I'm at? And if it's just a formality, why aren't we including all houses in the Muskego district? Formality would be being all-inclusive, I would think. So if we're not being all-inclusive as a formality, what's our ulterior motive here? What's the future hold? What are we going for? Scott, you said that we're not looking to plans to go into the future, but I'll get in here. I think the reality is that in the future, it's economies of scale for water to be given to larger masses to reduce the cost across the board. So on one end, you're saying we're not expanding it, and the other end, most cities do expand it for the economies of scale aspect. And so I feel like we're missing something in the disconnect in the terminologies or formalities of getting everybody informed. I ask for the council to take these various points into question as we plan for a better future. We as homeowners all the way across from the lake from the subdivision didn't ask for the subdivision. I'm not opposing of the subdivision, but we're being singled out to some extent. Why should we be stuck with the burden when water is in front of our houses when we have water that needs, satisfies our needs? What problem are we fixing or solving? I'm not aware of any mass failures or homeowner wells. So why are we pushing city water requirements and unnecessary costs onto those homeowners when there is no need? While Mayor Rick stated on Facebook that the change has no impact for 90% of the homes in the water district, then what's the problem with changing the hookup requirement that it's optional versus requirement? It's highly unlikely many houses in Muskego will sell immediately. So the requirement approach that's been taken when a home sells will be a long process, which I question if the WCA can withstand to achieve optimal efficiency. So will the next step be changing the requirements when the hookup is required? In the various posts and conversations I've had with people, I've yet to hear from any homeowner that wants city water. Not saying they're not out there, but Scott, I'd love to hear which ones say they want it and how many do we actually have. With that in mind, I'm shocked that we are still where we're at, as usually it's not good practice to force things onto people if it's not desired. I understand that with most public endeavors, like fire and police, economies of scale are achieved. But at what level is it needed for Muskego's current and future water needs? In other words, the more homeowners on city water, the cheaper it is for those homeowners. However, at what cost for infrastructure can our current infrastructure handle the increased demand accordingly? And again, what are we gaining by forcing unnecessary costs on the homeowners' future owners when their water needs are satisfied? I've heard it's not a cost to me. It's not a cost to the new homeowner. Well, when you sell your property, you have to realize that most don't have $10,000 to $20,000 estimate sitting around, especially when buying a house. So indirectly, the homeowners must most likely need to make concessions if city water hookup is required to sell their house within a year. As I've talked to various people, including Scott and Mayor Rick, I heard how we are doing it in Muskego better than other cities. Some require connections right away. I won't disagree with that, but however, the current approach may be better than some. At the end of the day, it's not necessary cost for homeowners, future owners, when their existing wells work. Simply stated, put yourself in the homeowner's position, as I am doing right now, as I've been told by Scott and others that more than likely my road won't need to be done because of where I stand. However, I am missing my son's baseball practice that I coach at to express when things are not right. So I'm taking the time and the liberty to do so, but I do question that when my road needs to be repaved, more than likely water will be run at that time. So it's not an inevitable aspect. If you don't do it at that time, I question why not, because that's the best time to do it from a pure economies aspect. Look at the current water plans and realize the requirement to hook up when a house sells is not going to move the needle on the WCA efficiency anytime soon. So don't make it a requirement, make it an option. Let's fix the concerns first before we expand the WCA's reach. Side note, Dennis, I had a good discussion with you on it, and I know you're talking about the Hillendale project. I don't know what that all entails. I know where it's at. That's old news, so all I'm asking from you to represent our district is to think about what's the current state and make sure we're voting for what your district needs and desires are. Thank you.
Thank you. Who wants to go next?
Scott Dickman, S69W17945, Muskego Drive, Muskego 53150. So to echo one of my neighbors here, we didn't have this rezoning take place until Kirkland went in. And going back in time, we weren't looking to do all this residential. Unfortunately, we're doing more residential now than we are in commercial to hopefully reduce our taxes, but that's another story. But I want to use Brookfield as an example. They said that, they had to put in all this water, which we all are aware of, right? We put the pipes in through Muskego, and it went all the way back to Lake Michigan and, brought water in, took water out. And they told the city owners, homeowners of Brookfield that, that at some point they'll have to do this as well. Well, then what happened is, I know a few people over there, and they had no option except to do it. I find it interesting that, you know, again, going back to people who have wells currently that happen to live on Martin that will have to at some point hook up. But if they don't right now, they're going to have a meter or they're well tested every 5 years. So that's a cost to them if they don't want to test it. I don't know why, because I don't think anybody's required to have their well tested in Muskego or anywhere else if they've been living there for years, but that's an added cost to those people. Secondly, you know, that infrastructure, that's not cheap. So all of a sudden let's just hypothetically say there's well failures in some area of the city in this particular district. All of a sudden they're saying, well, there's well failures. At this point in time, maybe we should put this water mains in and run water paths everywhere, because once you start to get there, everyone that may or may not want to hook up is going to have to pay for that. But it doesn't really state anything as to what are those estimates going to be. We don't know. It could be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. But we don't know what those estimates are going to be. And to his point, $10,000, $20,000, we don't know what it is per foot, what it's going to be, what the roads are going to look like. I mean, we just did some projects for laterals on Muskego Drive, and the road was just redone, say, 10, 12 years ago, and they didn't really put the right slurry in, so right now they're starting to go like this. That road was beautiful up until that happened, but again, to his point, he's exactly right. I mean, when these roads need to be done, they're going to say, oh, I think it's time to put this in. Are we going to be charged, or those homeowners going to be charged per foot at that time? There's nothing stated about that. And again, these estimates, it could be quite expensive for people. You know, there's a lot of people in this community that don't have the monies and the funds to afford something like this. But then it says, but you can at least pay for it over 5 years at an 8% interest rate. Why at 8%? Why don't we just say, hey, we'll pay for it, you just pay us back at the time, whatever the cost is? Why do we have to always share the percentage cost? We don't know what that interest rate is. So I think it's just, you know, to be honest, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. But again, to my neighbor's point, you know, it will happen. It's just a matter of when and how much time are we going to be, you know, have available to make some changes or whatever we need to do as citizens to pay for this stuff. So we were basically forced into this. Everyone in this audience that's here for this, we are forced into this situation, and now we have to live with it. And I was at one of Scott's meetings back in October, and quite frankly, people were frustrated. It wasn't really communicated very well at that time. I don't think there were a lot of answers. Maybe some answers have come out since then, but I think there was more confusion after that meeting than there was than getting the answers people were looking for. So, thank you.
Who would like to go next? And as we're waiting for the next person to come up, I do encourage you all to stick around. There are a lot of misconceptions being thrown out through some of this. So our goal is to make sure everyone understands what's actually going to happen versus what's being said is going to happen up here. So,
Do we have a dialogue at that point then?
not a dialogue, but that's why we're asking people to ask their questions now, and we'll try to answer every one of those during our discussion. Thank you.
John Cifuentes, S66, W17752, Copper Oaks Drive. So we happen to live in a corner of Martin and Copper Oaks. They put a hydrant in our yard.
The back of your yard.
No, well, it's the front of our yard.
Okay.
Side of our yard, if you want to call it that, sure. This is really to you. You said water's not going to come through unless there's pressure. Well, we got a hydrant. So to me, that seems like there's pressure. So are we an exception to this rule that we're not going to have to connect? I know you can't answer, but that's my question. Secondly, if this is a future problem and we sell the house in 2 years, but water hasn't come through, do those new owners now have to wait till they sell to put the water in? Or do we need to disclose to them, well, when water comes through, you're going to be forced now because you sold in 2 years from now, but there's no water. So I guess what disclosures do we need to be concerned about? Because like everyone stated, you guys say no cost to us. Frankly, that's not true. We will need to make concessions. When people buy a house, they generally don't have an extra 20 grand to put in water in a year. So concessions will need to be made. So Personally, I feel like Kirkland needs this. Why not just put Kirkland in this and leave the rest of us alone? Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Hey there, Eric Yeager, S69W17346 Kirkwood Drive. My first comment is I'm just very disappointed with the presentation of this whole issue. There's been more confusion and misinformation or lack of useful information since the beginning of this. I came to one of the earlier meetings with Scott, and this is just absurd that it isn't more simple. All these maps in this handout are ridiculous to look at or find out where I even am on this property. Specific questions I have, where is the well? Where's the water coming from? I am on a well. Is this going to affect my well? Is there any guarantee from the city when they're dumping all this water half a mile north of my house that it's not going to come off my well? If my well goes down, what's the city going to do about it? Again, I expect this, the whole thing about why this big area is a big question to me. Nowhere have I seen on any of these maps the actual affected houses. You keep saying certain people in certain areas from this to this. He does not even mark on the map the two roads that you're talking about on Martin Drive, from this road to this road. It was quite an effort with a magnifying glass for me to figure out where the heck that was and where I am on this map. There's also a big thing in the back here about all the money involved. I mean, I guess a comment, all this legalese stuff means nothing. It's not useful to us. I may be required, fine, but give us a summary, give us a simple map in the front, give us something to understand what you're talking about. If you're talking about the people from this road to this road and this number of properties, and I'm not in it, great. I was told by Scott, I'm on Kirkwood, I will never get water in the history of the city because I'm too high. That's true, fine, keep me out of it. And there's on this listing of money, there are 1,309 existing properties that are sometime going to be billed $1,782. I view that as all the yellow stuff in here. Is there really, and you're putting us in a project, in a not funding right now for 1,309 properties are somehow affected in the future? And 265 properties at 2970 for future properties. Nowhere does it say even how many properties are we talking about in Kirkland? Kirkland. I get mixed up. And how many properties along Martin are being affected? This would be very simple to say this many properties are getting the water, this many properties along Martin are going to have the possibility to get water. The rest of you guys wait 5, 10, 20 years. It could have been a lot easier, and other than the concern of my well over the next 10 years, it sounds like it's all a future thing, but it's very poorly presented to the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Got a lot of people here. Don't be afraid. We don't bite. All right. And we do want to know what's on your mind, so that's, if you're a little microphone shy, just take your time and.
Hi, I'm Jeff Turk, W178S6619 Page Court in Copper Oaks. And as everybody said, I want to reiterate, the main thing is this should be maybe mandatory for new construction. That's great. But for existing homeowners, this should be made optional. When we came here and had our house built, if city water was available, we would have taken it. But it wasn't available at that time, and that's okay. We're very happy with our well water. We shouldn't have to face the consequences of this decision and potentially pay $10,000, $20,000. And we will lose that, as John mentioned earlier. We will lose that money on the sale of our house. That will be something, our property values are something, but we're going to have to give concessions for this. So that's not fair to us. Again, if it was available at the time, we would have done it. We would have taken city water and been happy to do it. So, and the communications, I totally agree. They're so confusing. It's not well done for, the constituents, the average person. I've got a college degree. I can figure out a good amount of what's going on, but it's so confusing, and stating that it's going to be mandatory if that's there, if the water's there and the pressure's there, it's still not fair to us. It shouldn't be mandatory. We came into Muskego with good faith. We've been here for many, many years, and we think it should be fair for everybody. So again, please remove the requirement out of it. Make it optional for homeowners, and that'll solve a lot of bad blood that's going on right now. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hello, I'm Brian Ladwick, S69W16632, Martin Drive in Muskego. I think the main concern with our family and a lot of families on Martin Drive are this punch list that just getting delayed. We talked to vet months ago, and they're just shocked. They don't even know what to do. They say talk to Scott. They say talk to John. They say call Mayor Rick. And when we email Mayor Rick, he says talk to John. It goes back and forth. Nobody knows what's going on. Scott's been in our driveway. Mayor Rick, you've been on our driveway twice. Bob, you've been on our driveway. I brought a little souvenir. You know what that is? A piece of concrete from the driveway. Okay, you get these little bump outs, little pock marks or something. The driveway, I talked to Mayor Rick. He was at our house twice, looked at it. And I told him that the driveway repairs that they did look great from a mile away, but from close up, it looks like a third grader did it. This one piece of concrete that popped out of our driveway, I wanted to bring it so everyone could see it, because we just get the runaround. I tried calling Stark. I emailed them, got no response from Stark. And anybody's welcome to come and look at the driveway, because pretty soon I'm thinking about putting a sign up in the yard.
So I don't want to cut you off.
I know.
But the public hearing is for the water, and I understand
Okay.
indirectly you're talking,
All right.
and I understand everything you're talking about, but we do by
Gotcha.
law have to be talking about
Got
the
the water.
physical
Okay,
water.
because every meeting we come to, I've been told at least
If
twice
you
already
want,
that we're not talking about
I'll stop out at your house tomorrow if you want,
Gotcha.
but I
And
got to
then-
stick to what we're allowed
Gotcha.
to talk about.
But just this one
Is
piece.
this because of the water being put in already, the pipes?
Yes, but it has nothing to do with the WCA, which is outside the scope of the law.
Well, I
every
would think
meeting we
indirectly
come-
it does.
Well,
Every
you can
meeting
argue
we
that.
come to, they say we can't talk about this. And this one piece right here, just before we left, this is one of 70 on the driveway.
Thanks, Brian. Anyone else?
Hello, my name is Jim Abbey, address S67W17580 Rossmar Drive. I have a couple of comments and then a question. The first one is, I agree with my neighbors that if we are put into this district, first of all, I don't think we should be if it's not a requirement. So I think that we should, that the district should only be created where the water's really required in the short-term period of time. And secondly, if you are going to put me in the district, I think it should be voluntary to connect to it at any point in the future if that, again, that water becomes available. My question is, I live in Marlin Meadows subdivision, which has a community well. And so I would like to know later in this meeting, how will that be handled? Because obviously there's like 70, 80 houses that are all connected together right now on a water system. And so how will that be handled? And what costs will I be expected, you know, are you going to use the existing pipes in the ground? Is my existing lateral going to work? Does that all have to be replaced? These are some of the questions that I have.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Bob Panoski, West 193, South 6853, Hillendale Drive. I don't think I have anything to do with what's going on here, but if you're in the yellow on your map, are we safe from this particular water assessment? My house number is number 14.
You're in the area.
I am in the area?
Yep, that's why you got the letter.
Well, I thought this was over on some subdivision on,
And we can explain that when we get to the next part. But if you have other questions or concerns, you can talk now, but, okay.
I'm glad I asked, because I thought for sure that if you were in the yellow, you weren't in the district.
I think Scott said in the beginning that anybody who received a letter would be in the district. So if anybody has any questions about that, if you received the letter, you're in the district.
Is that part of the formality then as well?
Yes.
Because when, at the other meeting, on the 14th or whatever last year, I left that meeting thinking, well, I don't got nothing to worry about. I'm not in this hoopla that's going on. Well, now, all of a sudden, now you're saying that everybody in the yellow, which there's nowhere near enough people here to make all the people in the yellow should be here, wondering if they're gonna get charged, you know, $10, $15, $20, $25,000 to run a water main over to a different subdivision.
That's not what's happening.
Okay, I'll stick around and hear what you got. Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Hi, Dan Thiel, W183 South 66, W186 South 6693, Crest Drive. I echo a lot of the comments that have come up about the costs involved. And even if I'm in an address that probably won't get touched for a long, long time, we're seniors now. I'm at the end of my working life. My wife is nearing the end of it. I know that I'm not alone. There are many people that would love to stay in their homes and not have to worry about extra assessments that would come in that they have to deal with, or extra testing that have to be done. I just had a well put in 3 years ago when we moved into the neighborhood, and I take care of the well, testing the water, making sure that it's acceptable, sending it to get tested. I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with, and I would be a hardship, would be to have a licensed plumber come in every 10 years to be able to take care of that for me. I know I deal with plumbers on a daily basis. I hire them, I contract with them. They're God bless them. They work in a great trade, but $400 for a trip charge, that's nothing to sneeze about. The other costs that might be involved would be, a couple of the gentlemen brought them up. I echo that also. That's going to be a little bit of a hardship for people to just be able to pay for that, just to get into the pot, put our names in there. Otherwise, I think there's that 8% that was brought up. I would echo that again, that's going to be a little bit harder for people that are living on a fixed income or living on part-time income. That's going to make it tougher for them to be able to remain in their homes.
Thank you. Who else would like to come up? See, if I pause long enough, then people get there.
So,
My name is Cheryl Fries. I live at W175 S7229 Lake Drive. I've lived on the lake for over 30 years. And after I looked at Kirkland and everything that got given to that developer, I felt kind of left out. Like what's happening with the water being on one side of Janesville, of me, and then down on Martin. The reason it struck a chord with me too was because of fire protection. That's what I look at. And I know my road needs to be redone too, because I had the sewer lateral work done. So my biggest question to you is, what is future? Because in business, future's got to mean something. Is future meaning 5 years? Is it meaning 3 years? Because getting the letter from the city was alarming, because I thought after October, I wouldn't hear anything for 5 to 10 years. And now all of a sudden, we're kind of back in the room together. So I would rather have a window to be realistic about what's going to happen to my property than, like now, I'm going to be doing some landscaping, and if I'm going to tear it up again in 2 years, I'd like to know, is it going to be 3, 5, whatever. So maybe you can do that, maybe you can't, but unlike some other people, I would welcome the water, mainly because I think there's problems going on possibly in the very near future with my well. But, city water isn't always the answer either for a lot of people. So I would welcome it for the fire protection.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? So I got this big poster board in front of me, so I can't see if someone's trying to wiggle over there and get up, but go ahead.
So, can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Robert James Stricola, W168 South 6940 Parkland Drive, Muskego, Wisconsin 53150. Ladies and gentlemen, sir, like most of us, we received this letter. And I read it through quite thoroughly several times. Like I have to do at my employment, reading specifications every single day thoroughly, all the legal mumbo jumbo. So I'm quite familiar with this, gentlemen and ladies. I listened to your reason of why you need to extend it to the rest of us, sir.
If you can address it to us so we can get it recorded.
I'm sorry,
yeah,
it didn't make any sense why you have to put a big dragnet per se to every single home. Nothing should be forced, ladies and gentlemen, on any of us. It should be voluntary. Water is essential to all of us, as you know that, for life. Nothing should be forced, period, to nobody. If they want it, fine. But nothing should be forced upon any of us. We the people. I'm speaking not only for the current residents, ladies and gentlemen of the board and everybody here, but for the future people who move into Muskego. You shouldn't force things upon people. It's not right. It's fundamentally wrong. If you want it, sure. Don't force it upon us. Yes, all the reasons with the exact costs, all very true. Again, I want to say, I listened to the gentleman speaking of the reasons why the dragnet, and it didn't make no sense to me. Alarm bells went off. Red lights went off. Like at work, when I'm reading specifications and these things, it's like, wait a minute here, gentlemen. So, I say to all of you, please don't force it upon any of us. Don't force it upon yourself or anybody else. That's all I'm saying. please don't force it. Be voluntary. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Going once, twice. I declare this public hearing closed. We will be talking about this at length later today in the meeting. I encourage all of you, especially the ones that had specific questions, to stick around. I'm sure we're going to have a lively discussion up here. Hopefully not lively, but a good discussion up here. And hopefully when you guys leave today, you're going to have a better feeling about what we do than what you had when you came in. I will admit that, and I said it on social media yesterday, not this attorney, but attorneys in general, mainly the PSC, makes that document you got very confusing, and I understand that. And looking at how this process, this is only the second time we've done a big group like this, I think we're going to learn on how we communicate this out going forward. But stick around and we'll talk more about this later. Moving on with the agenda. Consent agenda. Common Council minutes from December 16th. Voucher approval. That's it.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Yeah,
say-
I have a comment here.
Yeah.
We're on the approval of common council minutes.
Yep.
Was that from November 12th?
No, from December 16th.
December 16th. That's what I'm saying, the 16th. Anyway, I don't know why I can't find it. What happened here? Something popped up wrong. But anyway, thanks. I do have a comment, if I can pull this up, because.
Yeah, Scott, can you move that?
Oh, yeah.
Let me pull this up here. Anyway, if I don't find it, we talked about, was that with the approval of the closed session?
No.
Was that, I'm back on November 11th again. What am I on here?
There was a closed session?
It was.
Okay.
Okay, what are we approving here? Give me the numbers.
The numbers, you're approving vouchers and the minutes from this December 16th.
Where is that on here? Where's,
You can't get that. That puts you on the minutes. These are the minutes.
oh, you're on the minutes now? Okay, good. That's what I want to say. Accepted as auto. Well, I thought when I went through, first of all, while I'm looking for this, what was the amendment to today's agenda? I couldn't figure that out when I went.
Oh, it wasn't an amendment, it was repost, she had to add some attachments, so it comes out again, like, it wasn't an amendment, it was just adding attachments.
Okay, so nothing changed?
Was it? Today, you didn't?
Anything you added was the same as before? Because I
The one
was
that
trying
came
to follow this.
What came out today was just changing some of the attachments. The agenda itself did not change.
Okay, but the attachments didn't change anything that was from before, because, you know, we have to give you notice to put things on agenda, and you have timelines and this and that, but then we get stuff on Friday, and it amends on Monday, and then I have to be here Tuesday, and I don't know what I'm doing, and I feel transparency is being lost here. And I'm, just like when I'm trying to get into this right now, what I was gonna bring up, resolution, enter a contract.
The only thing that got amended on Monday was the fire contract went from a discussion to where we were going to give you an update of where we were. And actually, I don't know why we're talking about this, because this is the agenda. This is not about the minutes. So do you have anything about the minutes or the vouchers?
Yeah, I did have something about the minutes, but I don't see it on here. I'm confused now from what I looked at originally.
What don't you see? The minutes, they're in your packet.
Okay, let me see here. Election of mayor, entered into Butler agreement, acceptance of auditing services. I do have questions on that. Now, I do appreciate that you're on social.
Do you have a question of what's in the minutes or a question on
Yes.
something? Okay.
Yes, I do, because this is on the auditing service. This is for auditing of what?
He's looking at the minutes himself. Can you
Am I
tell
the
me
wrong one?
give me a line item, please.
089, 2025.
Okay. Yes, what about it?
Auditing what? What is that auditing? That was the closed session?
No, that was you guys fired our old auditors and hired a different one.
That's for changing the auditors.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm confused. If I'm gonna have to go back through this because what I had prepared, I don't see on here. And, okay, I guess I could ask questions on establishing a procedure for alderman people. That's one on there I think that, number one, we should revisit that because, number one,
Okay, so.
we can't talk about anything up here.
Wait, Rob?
I can't talk about anything.
Rob,
You have a comment problem, you have a comment thing, I'll go back to your agenda item on here, where it says comments from the mayor. You can bring comments up, you can say whatever you want, and that's gonna get into that right now, which is kind of surprising because I have to ask for transparency here.
All right,
I have to ask for transparency
It's
here
transparency.
because you gave comments out when an alderman is not here that can rebut that and tell reasons why. We don't even have a chance for a recourse or anything. I'm kind of disappointed that you've taken off the comment part on here, and I fought that last meeting, that's what's
And
on here.
lost.
And with
And
all
lost.
these people here, you
And
know
lost.
that I cannot bring up comments. You can see what's happening right now for transparency. I need to bring up comments. He can bring up comments and talk about an alderman, and they cannot rebut it. They have no chance after today because they're not even here today. This is transparency in action here. This is what I was elected to do. This is how I feel that I'm being treated right now.
Can you follow the agenda and state
Yes,
law?
and I appreciate that you do.
You're breaking state law
And I
right
appreciate
now.
that you do Facebook, but that's not
You're
transparent for me
breaking
either at
state
these
law
meetings.
right now. Can you please
Really?
just talk
That's how you shut us
about
down. That's
your-
transparency. I'm
No,
breaking
this is
state
not.
law.
This is
I'm
fo-
breaking
we-
state law, people. This is transparency
Because we can
in
get
action.
fined $500 each for not following this. This is
Listen,
why. We
it's
have a
on the
procedure.
agenda under minutes. I'm bringing it up under minutes in the agenda. It's on the agenda.
Approval of
I'm
the
not
minutes.
breaking any law.
You are breaking the law.
No, I'm not.
You are breaking the law.
Is it on the agenda, Jeff? I just brought it up.
It's
on here.
approval of the minutes. It's not the.
Is that on the agenda, approval of the minutes?
Yes. You're not talking
I'm
about
not
that.
approving them. I'm telling you why I'm not approving them.
Then take a vote.
Yeah, but we have
Make
a
a
discussion.
motion.
There's a discussion before a vote.
What
I'm
a
doing the
circus.
discussion right now. This is how things happen. This is how it should happen. I am so glad people are here to hear how this happens. I am being silenced. My transparency as an elected official is being silenced, and I take it seriously. I don't know what anybody else thinks here. Anybody else think they're being silenced at times? I'm being silenced.
Can I do a point of order where you guys, I want to vote on a point of order here.
Well, can I ask one last question?
You haven't
Did
asked
you
one
have-
yet.
Yeah, I've asked a couple questions. I asked, why can't we have a
Right.
comment on there? Number one is, you can bring up your comments, and I don't want this to happen to me. You just did it to another alderman. What is their recourse? The question is, what is their recourse compared that you brought up the comments? They can't say anything about what happened. I don't know why she's doing that. I didn't even know what's going on. Why is someone
We
doing
will
that?
put
I mean-
this, you know what? I already have a request and it's going through. It will be on the next agenda. You
And
can
I don't
talk
like
about
the-
it all
And
you
they
want.
also took off the request for agendas on the bottom of our stuff. We have to do it through them. They can pick and choose when and how it happens.
All right,
It's
you're
not
you're getting
transparent.
way off
It's
the
not
subject.
transparent. It's not transparent.
All right.
We
Yeah,
should be, but I can't speak. You can see I'm being silenced.
You did.
No, I'm just trying to follow the law.
No, I can't ask questions. There's no comments, nothing. I have to bring it up during a point of agenda only, and I waited for this opportunity to do that. I respected what happened in the votes. I brought it up
I
during the
apologize
response.
I apologize for going off the agenda here.
No, it's
We
on
have-
the
we have-
agenda,
we
folks.
have- We have decorum.
You have to approve the minutes,
calling
and you
the
can
question.
discuss it. Am I right, Jeff? Can you
Is it-
discuss the agenda when it's before a vote? A legal term, there you go, the legal term, you heard it, I'm right.
So do your discussion and let's vote.
I did,
Okay, let's vote.
I did. I just want to make my point. We need to be heard. I want to be able to be heard. I don't have to wait for something there should be a time in this meeting where I can be heard.
Then propose it.
What's that?
There's a process to propose something
Well, because
like
you
that.
put it through and everybody agreed with you, which they didn't understand what the heck they were voting for. They gave their control away.
What did you just say? They all agreed with me. So you didn't get your way,
Right,
so you can
because
speak out
because
and
I'm
break
not
the
a
law.
rubber stamp.
All right.
That's the difference.
We have a motion and a second.
So what's the motion for?
The motion approved the 2 minutes, jeez.
Yeah, there was a motion and a second to approve and grow.
Okay.
Right.
Yes, all right.
So that's on the table.
Anything else?
Who made the motion?
Eileen?
Eileen did? Or you did a call for vote? Which one was it?
Well, there was a second, right?
Yes. All right, is there any further discussion? All those in favor of approving consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay.
Did you get the vouchers now?
Yeah.
Just remember, you gave up your control. I said this last time. You did.
New business, Resolution 012-2026, approval of the purchase of a 2026 DPW Chevrolet Silverado truck.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Resolution 013-2026, final resolution authorizing a area-wide water capacity assessment for water services under state statute, Wisconsin State Statute 66.0703 and potential of levying water capacity assessments against benefited properties, 20th Amendment WCA District. We gotta get this on the floor to have a talk, guys.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. All right. So before we launch into all this, Scott, are you prepared to answer any of these questions that we have? So as Scott's coming up here, I will fully admit we can do better on the communications. We will do better on the communications going forward. You know, a lot of the stuff that was in that mailing that came to you is a requirement of the Public Service Commission. A lot of attorneys just, you know, no offense, Jeff, they overwrite stuff and they make it confusing. So while we have to include that, we've already talked about some of this internally, having frequently asked questions in there, having a map of where the water system is in there. We added that to our website this week to try to help out. So yes, you're right. We can do better. We will do better. Now that being said, there were a lot of questions brought up tonight, and I'm going to have Scott start with some of those answers. I will jump in as needed, and then we will have a discussion here amongst the council about what we want to do.
I'm going to try to go through as many as I can through this whole thing, and just confusions and just talking. One big, just as going on, Great Water Alliance. Great Water Alliance has nothing to do with this. It was mentioned about rates going up. That was actually City of Waukesha, not City of Brookfield. That is where they got water, and then the water returned through Muskego. That has nothing to do with the WCA, and that is a separate item just to going through. Your well testing, okay. Right now, if you own your own well, you test it yourself. If you want a free kit, come into City Hall. I can give you a free kit to test your well. What they're talking about the 5-year well, like testing is, let's say you do get public water and you want to switch over to public water, but you want to keep your well for like landscaping, stuff like that. Every 5 years, we're required to get that well tested.
Scott, is that our requirement or the PSCs? Or?
I think that's the DNR. What? DNR, Wisconsin DNR.
So that is not a local requirement. Yep. That is a requirement of the Department of Natural Resources, essentially the state of Wisconsin.
Keep going through with the idea of pressure. Copper Oaks, when you talk about hydrants and pressure back and forth. So when we look at it, there's a couple homes, if you're looking down Martin Road where the water goes across. That water pressure's here. The elevation for that height of that house is way up here. I don't think, and how far away, that pressure will get there. We look at that when we look at every house, because there is some places where the house and the second floor, and you have a shower, that we have to make sure that we get pressure in there. We check that out for every house. Disclosure, that's always a big one. We've got to ask last questions. If you're in the amendment area, let's say you sell your house. A title search is done. That title search comes in the city clerk. They say you are in the water capacity assessment area. The clerk reaches out to myself or Tim. We have done this before and say, yep, they're in the area, but there is no public water main. The assessment doesn't apply to them, and then it moves on. So that is one of the things that is called when you disclose it for when you sell your house, going through it. Wells. So we are using.
Hey, Scott, can we back up a second?
Yeah.
So if you sell your house, you're not in it, you don't have to hook up. But if you are in it, you do have to hook up.
No. If you have water, if you're in it and you have water available, So when I say water available, it's in the front of your house, and we can provide you pressure. Those are the two items that need to happen.
But you don't have to until you sell their house, and then the new owners have to. hook
Correct.
up.
The new owner has 1
Okay,
year to
which some people
connect.
brought up, I just want to
Yeah,
make.
I'm still going through a list, so,
Okay.
yep. Okay, wells. How many, we have 8 wells right now. From Kirkland Crossing, what wells would be used for that? Okay, well 3. Okay, so well 3 would be the one that would serve Kirkland Crossing, which is nowhere near anyone in this area. So having your question about will this drain my well, that will not happen. Okay. Maps engineering, you are absolutely right. Some of those maps and some of the engineering reports, I am sorry, that is the PSC requirement. That's also, we have done this consistently for 20 amendments. We just need to be consistent all the way through. Is it easy to follow? Sometimes it is if you're an engineer. If it's not, that's why we have the public information meeting. That's why we give our number out. That's why we have these public hearings, so we can address all these questions. The good thing is, I'm very happy that all of you've got letters, because look at, you're all coming to talk to us. So that means the letter's getting out, and we're going to communicate with you either through social media and everything. So, moving on to other questions.
One of the big questions I think everyone's wondering, and it came up a lot, was why did we do this big area? And I'll start with, before he got into this, there is cost to doing these. A significant amount of staff time and cost of doing these. So about a year, maybe a year and a half ago, it was brought to the Common Council of like, do we want to do these, instead of just doing like these narrow strips as they come through for the districts, do we want to do a bigger one? Just because there is such a cost involved, it's more efficient. Now, in this big one that we're going to have, 90, I said it yesterday, I've said it a number of times, almost none of you will have any impact on this. We're not going to, there's almost, you can never say never. I agree with that. But the likelihood of ever getting water on like where Brandon lives is almost nothing. It's not going to happen unless like the whole street, all of a sudden all their wells went bad. Now we're going to try to find a way to make you have your house habitable. So we're going to, come hell or high water, we're going to find a way of getting water there. So that would be a situation, but our plans would be not to expand our system. Now our system gets expanded when new subdivisions come in like Kirkland Crossing, or hypothetically, this is not going to happen. Well, again, never say never. Say we sold Park Arthur and turned it into a subdivision, and the developer had to get water there. The water is going to get extended to Park Arthur. Now that pipe is going to go from point A to point B, and there's homes along the way. If there's water pressure or water in front, those are the only homes that would be affected during this. It's not going to be the ones that are on East Drive and, you know, on Muskego Drive and things like that. It's a big area because eventually we're going to get the whole city in a WCA district, but that doesn't mean it has any impact on you financially.
Correct. You only get assessed when you join, just to let you know, which means that when you connect to the water utility. Also, too, I can tell you right now, there is no plans now or in the future to extend water in any of these areas unless by the developer, by the city. There's nothing in capital, there's nothing to extend water in these areas, just to make sure everyone is clear with that, okay? There was a good question about Marlin Meadows and the private water trust. There is a private water trust that's in this area. So how is this going to affect it?
Can you explain what a private water trust
Sure.
is for those of you?
So there's 4 places in the city of Muskego that that own their own wells, they own their own pipes, they have a water trust, and they are acting like their own little city.
A community well, you're talking.
Community well for just the water trust, and they run it. And you all pay to the water trust, you don't pay a tax bill, it's all to the water trust. And there's one called Marlin Meadows that's in this area. So about a year ago, about 2-3 years ago, when we started doing some of the requirements, we have a plan. If any of these water trusts reach out to us and want to hook up to the public water, we have a set of plans of how we evaluate that, and you have to go through the steps to do this. So right now, no one of of the Water Trust, even including Marlin Meadows, has reached out to us to join up with the Public Water Trust. If it does go that way, that's a whole different discussion, and it'll be a whole different discussion with everyone up here, but right now, there's nothing involved with that.
Scott?
Yep.
Can you tell them what would happen? Because this is about water and about water coming in the areas and possibly them hooking up to it, so it's part of the discussion. What would happen if you took over the well as a city?
Theirs?
Yes, any community well.
Okay, so first, we would have to do a full evaluation of their whole system. And the reason why is because of the fact is, we don't know what it is. We have no knowledge of what that private water system is. We don't have plans, we don't have anything. So first, we do a full knowledge and do it, then we do an assessment, and then we would try to find a way to hook up, and then we would see whether or not what's valuable of their system and what's not. Their well might not be valuable because we have plenty of wells already, or you might say this is an asset. We have to go through that whole list of doing it. Then eventually we hook up, and then there's a payback issue, like plan. At some point, for the first 5 years, I believe, if there's anything that breaks, it's 100% assessed to that private water trust, if I remember right. And then after the 5 years, it is all on the city, which is the public water utility that would take.
So let me clarify this. I voted against this. I'm probably the only one who did. There's a couple new aldermen up here that didn't have the opportunity to do that. What will happen is that the first year, any infrastructure breaks, say it's $50, okay, you guys absorb it. But if it's $1 million, your community that's on that well has to pay $1 million. I got them to change it from a lot different thing to 20% per year to pay off after 5 years. So 180, 60, 40, 20, 0, right? If you understand the percentages, which I didn't want to do, but I had to make a concession because everybody else on the time on there, including the mayor and the engineer, were in favor of doing that to the people with the community. And I heard the word good faith from a gentleman up here. I don't remember who it was, and that's what I like to say. Have a clean, safe, affordable community. We built these areas in good faith. Now, the city approved it to be built in good faith. And now the city is saying, well, because we might want to hook up the water there, there's no more good faith anymore. We let you build that because we like the income and the taxes coming in, but now...
Can we stick on the subject,
now we want,
please?
I am. This is all part of the same thing.
No,
it involves taxes.
I disagree.
And the water is separate from everything else, too. So as far as how it's spent, and I have other dilemmas that are going to be coming up on how water versus street repairs and stuff are going to affect taxes on people who don't pay water bills. But the water bill people are going to benefit from it. And that's what's happening with this. The exact same thing with the community wells. It's a revenue stream. Someone mentioned that. I agree 100%. So I'm fighting for you guys. You know, I don't know what else I can do. You hear me up here. I'm pretty vocal. And I pretty much say it the way it is. And I try to make things affordable and
Can we follow some decorum at least and talk and be recognized?
Here's a problem. I need time to talk and express my discussion. And I get cut off. That's not transparency.
No, you talked without being recognized, sir.
We're talking about...
No,
we're
it doesn't matter.
We can interrupt any time and ask him questions.
No, you cannot.
Yes, we can.
No,
we do it
you
all
cannot.
the time. Is this another new rule? You want to put an
No,
ordinance
it's called
together?
Robert's Rules of Order that's been followed
Okay, go
since
ahead.
1964.
You guys know where I stand. Transparency.
I apologize to everyone
Transparency.
for his outburst.
And I apologize for being interrupted. It's not funny. You see people out there laughing? You're the only one laughing, Rick. This is serious. I take my elected official job seriously. I come prepared to the meetings. What's that?
Doesn't sound like it to me. You're not following the rules. Get to the subject.
Okay, that's your opinion.
Enough. I don't want, we don't have interaction back and forth. It's supposed to be up here. It's supposed to be when it's recognized. And go on.
Go ahead.
Scott, continue. The one thing before we go too far, because I think we just got confused a lot of people. The water trust thing only impacts the gentleman who talked about living on East Drive. None of you are in a water trust. It has nothing to do with any of you. So I hope that didn't throw this further into confusion. So go on, Scott.
Did you have any other ones? I think
So the WCA, so the reason we did the big thing, and it doesn't mean, the council can amend this from the floor tonight, I don't recommend it, but they could, of just doing the area we have. That has nothing to do with a separate issue, which has already been, it's part of our ordinance, is the mandatory hookup. That is not something that's gonna be talked about tonight. That is an ordinance that we have, that could always, ordinances are, they're a point in time, they can be brought up and changed later. But tonight we're talking about literally approving the district map for the water connection, which is the idea. We're doing that big chunk to save in, administrative and, cost on that. Does it have to go that way? No. Does it impact any of you? No. Really, it doesn't. Because even if you're approved in this district, before water would get run anywhere, that's a whole other, meetings, lots of meetings and discussions and, figuring out costs and all that. There's a lot of steps. Just because you would be approved and be in this district today and you're on the other side of the lake and all that is miles, figuratively, years away of process before that water would be run. And it's not gonna be run down in the middle of the night where you guys don't know about or have any impact. So, this whole map area thing is literally that. It's a color on a map. The only people that are really impacted are the people where that pipe is running along Martin Drive to the new subdivision. And almost all the people that are really impacted by this don't even live in Muskego yet. Because those lots haven't been sold, the houses haven't been built. That's what this is all about. And I apologize for all the confusion out there. We need to do a better job on it. We will do a better job on the communication, but that's what mainly this is about. Going through some of the questions, water pressure. So we had talked about readily available, and means the pipe's literally got to be in front, adjoining to your property, and it's got to have pressure. I know Kirkland Crossing, the new subdivision that's coming in, has to have a
Water booster.
A water booster, because there's not enough pressure of the water to actually serve that subdivision. So my question being, is the water that is actually being run to the site, and one of the gentlemen that lives in Copper Oaks asked about the fire hydrant, so that was a good question. Do we have fire pressure on that there? Because I know we'll put hydrants out that don't have full pressure, because it's better to have some water than no water. If there's a fire, Bass Bay would be a good example of that. But in this case, what is the water pressure there? I really don't know the answer. Okay. So just because there's a hydrant there doesn't mean that the pressure is actually there.
And Rick, we have pumper trucks as well.
We do, yes, but we're talking about why there's a hydrant.
Well, I'm saying, but
Yeah.
if there's no pressure, that's why we have pumper trucks.
All right. Go on.
All right, do you mind if I go over some numbers real quick?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this, value of future WCAs to be collected, 265.
So
that's got to be the houses that are
that's
the
like
lots
everything.
in.
That's like everything. Like, let's say that everyone in this whole entire area gets hooked up. When you do the engineering report, we're looking at a full potential. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, every house and every person, everything is hooked up to water.
Right, but is the 265 houses, is that the amount that is slated for Kirkland Crossing?
No, Kirkland is, the first phase is 68, and then I think the next phase is right about 70 or so. So the first phase is 68, I know that for sure.
Okay, and then what would the 1309 houses be? Is that every other house that's along?
Correct.
That's in the yellow area?
Yep, that's why we've sent out about 1309 homes.
Okay, and then?
And that's businesses too, think of it, businesses as well. There's some businesses in there.
Right,
Yep.
I see that here as well. So of those 1,300 homes, those are the ones you say, maybe 10% of them?
1,300 homes, probably 30, probably there's 30 down Martin?
Maybe,
that's it.
if that.
If that.
Okay. Now, where is I think Brandon mentioned this when he was up talking. I mean, you're talking 30 homes. What is the rationale for forcing that as opposed to leaving it voluntary? And I know that's a separate.
I think that was decided,
connection.
from my understanding, when that was decision about 2 or 3 years ago,
The council, it was
Yeah.
brought forward to the council, so we have water mains running in front of homes all over the city. And most communities not only require you to hook up, they make you pay for the water main in front of your house. We're not trying to, we didn't do either, but we do realize that there is, for one, there's a benefit of having the water main in front of your house, if not just for fire protection alone. You save on your homeowner's insurance based on how far you are from meters. I mean, it's a safety net. There's cost involved in having that water main there, and that there's a group of people that have that main there that are getting a benefit that there's no way of ever getting them on it. So we realized we didn't want to force people that are here to hook up. The best way around it, we thought, was at the sale. At least it gets the house on it eventually, where they start contributing to the system and getting their benefit from it. But, it's not forcing anyone that's in the house now. There is a gentleman that talked about his fixed income. He likes his well. He wants to keep his well. As long as he lives in that house, that he'll never have to hook up under the current policy. Now, when he sells it, yes, there is a hit you can take. I'm not going to argue that. Will there be a cost, negotiation have to be between the seller and the buyer because of this forced hookup? Possibly. There's also an argument, and it's a strong one, that your homes are worth more on municipal water than they are without. Now, does it cover the difference? I don't know.
And remember,
But that's the history of it.
the other thing too is water has to be available. If there's still, when he sells, and there's no water available,
There's no hookup.
there's no
Right,
hookup.
that's a lot of ifs and future prediction and all that kind
Yeah,
of
no,
stuff.
but
I just don't understand why, we're talking about what you said was maybe 30 houses. I can't imagine that making such an impact to put all these people in the position they're in, right? Like, with that anxiety and
It's
that.
a citywide policy.
I understand.
It's 30
It
homes
doesn't mean I
today,
have to
but
like
it covers like 300 overall.
And then, the only last thing, I live in a house on Racine Avenue with a well, and I know if they decided to run water main down Racine Avenue, I'd be pretty upset if somebody at some point was trying to force me to hook up to it as well. So I understand what they're saying and support them that way, because I'd fight it like crazy too.
Please remember too, when we did this policy was put in 3 years ago. It's just part of the discussion of this. It is not saying if you deny it, that policy goes away. I want to make sure that policy is still in the city for everything. It's just one of the things when we talk about it, this is a policy that is in place that the City of Muskego Common Council voted on 3 years ago.
And something we could bring back onto the agenda.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's.
So we'd have to do an amendment
But
on
it
it?
doesn't,
Is that right?
we would have to draft a new ordinance and amend it, yes. But today's discussion is literally about approving the map to get water to Kirkland Crossing, which we really don't have a choice to unless you want to get sued on that part. You can change the map itself, but we have to approve a section that at least gets water there.
Is that right, Jeff? We'd get sued? That's correct. Okay, I'm just making it legal.
Alderman Decker.
Is this a first reading of the 20th?
Because it's not a zoning.
It's not an ordinance.
It's not an ordinance.
It's a resolution.
It's a resolution.
No, it's the only reading of it.
It's the only reading of it. That's why we do the public information meeting. That's like a month ago why we do a preliminary resolution. We're trying to let you know as much as we can.
Tonight. This is not an ordinance. Correct. This is not an ordinance. Ordinances are the only thing that have two readings. Anyone else?
Yeah.
I heard a comment, I heard a comment from one of the residents stating about when the road gets repaved, about putting in a water main. We don't necessarily do that if there's no water main, if it's a repavement.
I have never done that.
We've
in
run
9 years that I've been here, that when we do repavements, we do mill overlays jobs, we don't put a water main in.
We do the inverse, where we put water main in and then repair the road, redo the road above it, but we don't redo the road and then put water.
Yeah, like we'll make adjustments of utilities in there, like if there's sanitary, we make adjustments. We'll replace the culvert pipes in there, but we don't put fresh utilities when we do our road program.
Okay, I just want to.
Yeah, you're right.
Get that
I forgot that.
Alderman
question.
Dilge.
On the same sheet I'm looking at, it says, Subtotal of WCA's previously approved or anticipated $6,840,308, and then total value of anticipated projects, $6,860,714. When you're saying total value of anticipated projects, is this like?
It's kind of like our capital
these
projects, you know, we have, like, we go through all our water utility capital projects, we throw it in there. Like, for example, we said maybe down the way, we might need a new water tower, way down at the end of, like, near, like there, that's included in there. We look at all our capital that we have in there. The consultant engineer looks at whatever we have that we're thinking of doing, which is in our capital or other projects.
Okay, so this isn't referring to anticipated projects as part of this?
Not this project, this is the utility as a whole.
As a whole. Yeah, we have to do this engineering report. And just remember, when we did the last one, the whole blue area over there, that's number 19, very similar. It was just water to about 30 people, but we did the whole area as well, so.
How many of these do we have in the city?
20.
20, that'd be number 20 right there.
And the residents that are here now that don't want to be in this one, are they in one
No.
previously?
No.
So there was no WCA that covered them?
Correct. Any other questions up here? I'm not sure if we answered everyone's questions. We're trying. If for some reason your question did not get answered, you can contact my email's on the website, my phone number's on the website, Scott's number is on the website under engineering. Please reach out to us. I'd like to make sure that your answers are, your questions are answered. So hopefully you have a better understanding than when you got here tonight. I'll reiterate this. You can never say never, but almost certain that most of you this will have no impact on you, because, Alderman Dilgey's a good example. He's got a perfectly good well in an area that doesn't have high density. Unless wells were to start failing, where we have to look at this as a whole community, and, failing for contamination or whatever reason, that's the only reason I see that at least I can see from my personal opinion of why we would expand water in your area. But then I think you're going to be welcoming us with open arms at that point. So, Alderman Decker.
I think I would like to defer this to the next meeting. Defer a vote on this to the next meeting.
Is it holding anything up with?
But this is just the first reading, right?
No.
No, it's a resolution.
It's a resolution.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing holding, if you want to defer it, I'm just saying.
What are you hoping to gain in the next meeting?
I want to get a little bit more information.
So why don't we start here? We're here right now. I'm not saying you can't defer it, but if you've got more questions, ask them. We've got the experts here. We have the benefit of the public here, so if you can ask your questions, you might be answering some questions for them.
I think I'm sympathetic to the voices that I've heard that don't want to be forced into this.
Okay.
At the very least, I would like to, but again, I want to do a little bit more fact finding.
Can you at least give us a hint of what you're looking for? I mean, we want to work with you on here. We want to make sure that we're here to serve the public. So, just because, we've been talking about this.
I'm not trying to inhibit the progress of the Kirkland Crossing development, but I'm listening to the points that are made by the people who are being kind of roped into this, who don't even live there. And I'm wondering if maybe this resolution could be changed to where it's going to affect just the Kirkland Crossing and maybe Martin Drive, and then that's it.
You could, but you can make that motion tonight. We could amend this tonight. We can make this tonight to impact the only needed properties.
Yeah, I would like to have some time to do some more research on this.
Okay. Alderman Hamel.
I'll make the amendment then to just do it north of the direction's correct, north of Martin, that affects Kirkland and north of that area? Is that?
So what you're asking is new territory that I have not explored. I'm letting you know. There's not been one time when we've come to any amendment in 20 years, I think, that someone said, let's change the mapping. Because now, if we're doing everything with a public hearing, we're following the right rules, and now you're changing it, I got to make sure, working with our city attorney and the PSC, that we know what we're doing. Does that make sense to everyone?
So we
here?
have,
Well, then let's defer it.
So doing it on the fly is a bad idea.
Before we do.
I just don't know. I'll be honest, I just
Scott,
don't know.
wait.
Yeah.
Let me control the meeting, please. I have no problem deferring it, but before we defer it, and don't go saying motion to defer right now because we stopped discussion. We want to be able to send Scott off and these people here with a knowledge of what we're doing. So let's have a discussion about what you want to do so he can go, then, and once we get it all on the same page, then we can defer it. So, Alderman Wolf?
I'm going to ask Tom to speak on this. What do you want to do?
So, in my opinion, there were two options. If we approve the map like it's written today, I would immediately email the mayor to get the water connection policy on the next agenda, and then we could vote to change it to a
Voluntary.
Yeah, voluntary. If we choose to go the other route where we narrow the map to only include where the water main runs to and then to Kirkland Crossing, then I probably wouldn't have to do that second part.
And then we stay within our ordinance, correct?
Yeah, you can, yeah.
Yeah. There's two ways to do it. He laid them out.
What I would maybe suggest would be, let's talk about the areas you wanted. So we talked about, let's do the Martin Drive and the Kirkland Crossing area. There are a number of lands to the north that are probably going to get developed. I would at least include them because it doesn't, there's no pipe there, it's not going to affect anyone, but it does at least get those properties so when they go to get developed, eventually, they're in the district already. And it doesn't impact people on the other side of the lake and everything else. So let's try to recover some of our costs here from that standpoint because it only benefits the city and the taxpayers and without putting individual people on it. Make sense?
That makes sense, but where is that on the map?
Well, see, that's
what we're
the
gonna
thing.
try
He
to
knows the area more.
We're eventually going to have Scott bring that map up here and we're going to kind of point.
So he knows the area more.
It's his district, yes.
Right.
So my thought would,
And the other question is, we sent letters out to everybody, and some of the people might be here that affects, I don't know. That's the other part of the voluntary part.
So my suggestion on it, from just looking at this, and Scott, Scott can investigate this, he's gonna come back at the next meeting, would be to take the map itself, and I'll just kind of draw here. Follow Martin Drive up, go up to Kirkland Crossing, and everything in this corner included, versus this whole thing.
Going to be east of it? Is that what
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so you're taking you're taking everything from Martin Drive, going through the proposed district, heading
all the way up to College,
north
right?
and east.
So that's along New Berlin, basically.
And going to Park Arthur,
Kind of going along New Berlin?
So it's like this corner here. That would be my suggestion.
That's what
Does that make sense?
That was the area I was talking
Alderman
about.
Decker. Scott's still gonna have to come back with this, but I mean, if we're gonna give him something to start with, that would be my suggestion. Alderman Decker.
I would still like to defer and
Well,
then.
we're doing that.
Okay.
We're just trying to get the information to him.
And then, but I would also still like to have a discussion, like you suggested, Alderman Dolge, about
They're not going together.
the rule.
We can, but they're not going together. We have to, we're gonna approve this map.
Right.
We can bring back an ordinance later. We're in no rush for that, but we can do it.
But.
This is a separate subject.
Okay. Are you asking for an approval of your proposed approval
I'm
of the map
just trying
now?
to figure out, is that acceptable for you guys?
I'd like to defer it completely.
Yes, that's acceptable.
For the rest of you, does this make sense?
That's acceptable, yes.
Well, Dennis, he's going to bring something back, and we'll talk about it again. So
Right.
it's kind of like deferring it, but we'll have a chance to look at what's there. We're going to
Well,
shorten
we're still
it.
deferring it. We have to give him something to work on in the next 2
And
weeks.
it's really statutory. This is the PSC, so this is uncharted water. So just defer it, but tell him what you want, and then we can figure it out if that's going to work.
And
You are deferring it.
In my opinion, and what I think is going to have to happen, is you're gonna have to start the whole process over. And the reason, and the reason why.
Let's not speak out of turn on that.
I don't know.
I don't know that.
Because
We've
making an
notified, I'm not guessing. Let's find out later. I don't want to make guesses on the floor.
I
the
guess the
goal
reason
right
why is
now-
the engineering report is totally wrong. Because now you're only gonna do the engineering report on the new mapped area. So you have to re-go through that whole.
Let's find out. Let's not speculate.
That'll be something we bring back.
We're going to follow the law, okay? All right. Anything else we want Scott to work on in the next 2 weeks on this? All right, now I need a motion to defer. Alderman Madden moved.
I second.
Alderman Hamel, sorry, Hamel seconded. All those in favor of the motion to defer, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This is deferred until March 10th. I apologize that you're going to have to come back if you want to, but I think you got an idea what we're going to do here. It probably cleans out 3/4 of the room because it takes almost all of you out of it. So, but that's our plan. Any questions, reach out to either your alderman, myself, or Scott. We'd be happy to help you and answer any questions.
I just want to make a
Thank you.
comment to the public.
And thank you for coming tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate the enlightenment from the first speaker to the last one. It kind of changed my views a little bit on how we did things in the past, so I appreciate it.
All right, continuing on with the agenda, old business, resolution 014-2026, approval of the 2026-27 contract agreement between the City of Muskego and Test Corners Volunteer Fire Department. This has been on the floor and deferred. Jeff, do you want to give them an update where we're at?
Sure. Last meeting, you guys had talked about the modifications that the fire department wanted to make. What I did is I took all of your ideas. I presented that. Actually, I had to present it to the mayor. I'm not able to talk to the fire department. I have to go through their attorney. So the mayor had kind of talked to the fire department. I ended up talking to their attorney, and what they gave me back is the agreement that they want to have. And in terms of the donations, if you read that, they did put something on the fourth paragraph there that talks about they will give a number of their donations, but the idea that we had about listing each one, that's not what they want to do.
So you're going to be getting a total, it's part of it, it's
Total
actually
number.
a total number. It tells you every quarter in their quarterly reports how much, you know, like they receive $10 or $100,000 in donations. So you're getting the dollar amount. And I think that's ultimately from what you said last time, what you were looking for, Alderman Wolf?
Yeah, I was looking for the last 6 years.
Well, and they will, well, is that in there or not?
No,
See,
24, 25 is only in
I
there.
thought we said 2020 to,
we did say 2020. Hold on.
When I looked, I didn't see it. I only saw a 24 and 25 comparison. And
When
I
we
looked at the
talked to him, he
financials, and it
threw
only
in-
shows the last quarter.
Right. When we talked to him, he threw it in up here. So we did mention 2020.
so this is what they proposed and brought back.
Yeah.
So are the,
Alderman Dilge?
So, couple of things. I feel like it'd be weird to put in the contract just like a 2-year agreement to give 5 years of data. I think we could probably get that outside the contract. The second thing is I thought we were looking for also like if any of those donations were earmarked for something specific. And that didn't seem to get in there. I don't know if that's a point that got glossed over. Or,
Don't remember.
That's not what I took from the meeting,
Yeah,
but
I apologize.
does anybody else remember that? Because I know we talked about earmarked money.
I think things
Sometimes
were
their
thrown around
donations
out
are
there.
earmarked, and that would be information that we thought would be beneficial.
Wouldn't that, so if you're going to act on their, say you look and they have $500,000 in donations, and if for some reason that's going to impact whatever you're doing with them, wouldn't you ask that question at that point, and then we would get that answer? Would that solve it? I mean, we've gone back and forth. This is what they're willing to do at this point, you know, so it's not a deal breaker?
It's not a deal breaker for
All
me.
right. Alderman Decker.
I'm not satisfied with what they put in here.
Okay.
I feel that we need to stay with Rob's suggestion, and I would like to, we have a little bit of time, and I would like to defer this as well.
Can you tell me what Rob's suggestion was again, just so I?
Well, he wanted donations itemized.
Yeah. Here's what I.
Above 5,000, right?
For the last 6 years.
Here's what I took out of the conversation. I said, because everything was confusing, I said, what I'm gonna do is have them list for each year. Number one, this amount. Number two, this amount. Number three, that's how I proposed it. They didn't like it. They came back just with, we'll give you one number for each quarter.
But I didn't get one for the last, since
Right,
2020.
that's not in there.
They didn't do that.
They didn't want that.
And
They
then,
didn't want it.
and then also, which is not shown in your, would you say, the first agreement here before you changed anything, it doesn't say that for valuable consideration, acknowledgement by each party for the open meeting laws, that is changed on there as well. So they changed it, you changed it back to something even different from the last time. What I don't like, and the reason I don't like it is because there's too many open record requests going on. I'm getting calls from people about open record requests, and it's saying in this that the city's gonna govern it with their agreed. I mean, the word agreed is taken out, I believe. If I find that on the new one, it is, I got too many open here. I gotta move over here. Upon written request by the city, I don't really want the city governing that. I think that they should have to just go back to the old thing, because even in here it says, will cooperate rather than agrees. I don't know what the difference is between cooperate and agrees. I like the word agree. And I think we need to go back to the old one that's on here. I don't know why we keep switching it, and it's not highlighted that it was switched.
We are not switching it.
Yeah, this is switched from.
No, Rob.
Here's the original one right here.
Rob, we are not switching.
I know, but it's not highlighted that it was switched. You should make that known for us.
It's in
Wait,
the.
let me,
Okay.
are you done? You'd like to talk? Okay. We are not switching. Well, no, I want to make it clear for the public. This is what Test Corners is willing to do at this point. So I mean, this is what they're willing to do, and maybe the council's not, but then we're at an impasse.
We extended it for 90 days, so
We
we're
have
good
not yet.
for
They
90
have not
days.
agreed to that yet.
I think that,
We're outside of a fire and EMS contract, right?
okay, I'll say, just one last comment. I think that, I'd like to defer this till we have all the aldermen available. Because then everybody's represented from their districts.
Then make that motion.
I'd like to make a motion to defer this until the next meeting when all the aldermen are present.
And I second that.
Roll call vote.
Alderperson Wolf.
Yes.
Alderperson Hamel.
No.
Alderperson Decker.
Yes.
Alderperson Bryce.
No.
Alderperson Dilge.
Yes.
Alderperson Madden.
No.
Okay. It's deferred. We do not have a fire contract. There's a good chance
And
they
you all
won't make
know
any
they are volunteers.
Yes.
And I doubt they're gonna change this contract.
They're pretty
This
dug
is
in,
what they
so,
said.
but it's deferred, so. We do not have a fire contract or EMS
So you understand
contract
what
for the
we're
city
looking
right
for?
now. We know what you're looking for, yes.
Okay, so back to the old terminology.
And they've said no to that twice, so.
But it changed again, so it was changed again, so I don't understand the dilemma
Alderman
here.
Decker.
I mean, maybe it's not a big deal. We should probably have Jeff talk about it next time.
Alderman Decker.
Question, Mayor, is there a reason why they just didn't want to do the 90-day extension? Was that offered to
They
them?
thought this is the contract they're willing to sign.
I think they need to do the 90 days extension while we hammer this out.
It's more at our peril than theirs, that they're in a better negotiating situation.
I really didn't realize that we would be able to get it this fast, and when they came back to me this fast and said, this is it, and I put it together, that's why I brought it today. Otherwise, I would have done the 90 days. I can do the 90 days.
Well, I don't know if we can do the 90 days.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if
They may not.
they're dug in on this, so we'll see.
And they won't change the donations, that's a given. I've tried.
That part's not changing. Well, they're subject to open records. You can get it from them. They're just,
I know
they don't want it as part of the contract. They have no problem providing all that
Yeah, just
information.
provide it. That's all I care about. Just provide it.
Well, then why are we holding up the contract because of it? They're already
Well,
required
that's
to do
two
it.
things on there.
They're required to do it.
I know they have to file, because they're whatever, profit.
Yeah.
They have to file on their IRS thing. All they do is, they gave me the 24, 25, just give me the 20, just do a comparison since 2020.
All right, this is deferred. We're off this subject. First reading of ordinance and second reading of rules are waived. Ordinance 1507, ordinance to amend the zoning map and 2020/2035 comprehensive plan for RSE to RS2 for Ryan Drive. So this is just the first reading of it. I'm going to have Adam go through and answer some of the questions that were asked tonight about this, and hopefully we can answer those. And then this will be coming back for a second reading when we actually vote on it at the next meeting.
Thanks, Mayor. So a couple of things that were brought up. Stormwater runoff, definitely should see improvements. One of the worst contributors to stormwater issues are vacant sites. Vacant sites have no stormwater control. So right now when it rains, water is going to sheet flow wherever it goes. There's no direction, there's nothing to hold it, it just flows where it flows. When they develop this, whatever happens here, they will have to meet all DNR and Metro Milwaukee Sewage District stormwater requirements. So it is scientifically proven that this site will have water leaving the site cleaner, slower, and more directed than it does now. So the best thing that can ever happen to a vacant site when it comes to runoff is a development, because it forces control of the water. MMSD has very intense standards, even more intense than the DNR. They have to meet all of them. So stormwater is something that we can say with confidence should only be helped as part of any development, whatever happens here, regardless of the zoning request. As far as any kind of walking paths, there is nothing shown on their current plan. Technically, paths are not a topic of a rezoning unless they're asking for conservation plan development, which they're not doing. So we can definitely still talk about it because it's part of a development, but their conservation plan that was approved previously that they're choosing to not really go with now did include a path between Ryan and Boxhorn. One of the main reasons they're abandoning that plan is it was extremely cost prohibitive. Literally made the whole development numbers fall apart, that if they had to put this trail in, which they originally offered to do, once they actually had estimates, they realized it's not practical and can't be done. That's why they went back to the drawing board to look at other options. So this will be discussed further when they eventually, if this rezoning would be approved, if they're going to come forward, the next step would be a preliminary plat. That's the next step in any kind of development process. That preliminary plat would be the time that we talk about any kind of improvements, which could include trails and stuff like that. But that's the main reason that they're changing the zoning, is to not have a trail connection, because it has to go through a large wetland area that makes it cost prohibitive. The DNR has really intense restrictions over what you can do and not do in a wetland, and that is exactly why they're reconsidering this. I'm going to kind of address the ones that are addressable. Force main and sewer, obviously, is part of any development. Once they get to the construction plan phase, that's when sewer analysis is done. Our utility staff, our engineers will all analyze the sewer to make sure there is proper capacity. So that is something that will be properly vetted to be sure it meets all the necessary requirements. There was a note or talk about the stubs to the adjacent properties, and specifically would there ever be a connection onto 00. Once again, it's hard to say what other landowners are going to do someday. There's no specific plan to connect to 00. The properties to the east, west, and north of here all do have development potential with them. That's why there are 2 stubs provided now, and as one of the gentlemen mentioned, was requesting a 3rd stub, which is something we've already kind of started to look at, as it is probably an appropriate request if the rezoning is granted. It makes a difference then depending what your lot size is. So there's no specific connection to North Cape Road. That would have to go through many private property owners' lots. If all those developer lots decided to develop someday and they wanted a connection, maybe, but it's probably unlikely, or not unlikely in any foreseeable future, as this developer just owns this one chunk of land, not those adjacent parcels all the way to North Cape. And then, yeah, the last comment I really had that's addressable, I think, is regarding that stub to the west. Like I said, that is something that have to be looked at and considered, that they do provide a stub to the north, the east. The ordinance basically says if land adjacent has development potential, and if this rezoning would be granted, which means half-acre lots approximately, as a minimum, they can always be bigger. If there is more case to be made for a connection to the west, the way the ordinance is written. So that's something that would be talked about more so as a condition of a preliminary plat, but it's all relevant now because it is part of the topic. Does anyone on the council have any questions for me or anything else they want us to bring back at Plan Commission?
You touched on all that I had written down, but I could have missed some. Alderman Decker?
This ties into the rezoning request?
This is the rezoning.
This is the rezoning request. I'm
all it
just
is.
clarifying the answers because this is technically the first reading right now. And like I said, the zoning doesn't grant a lot count. The rezoning doesn't grant a layout. It's really, zoning is a lot size and a lot width. That's what zoning is.
It's just density. That's all it is. The map that's there is conceptual. That could change completely.
That's a separate approval at a later date if they would get this.
All right, any other questions before? If any of you do have any more questions before the second reading, please get those to Adam so he can be prepared for the next meeting. This will be voted upon on the, March 10th meeting. Thank you. Moving on, license approval. Approval of a Class B liquor license for Serendipity LLC, DBA Soiree, located at South 74 West 17065 Janesville Road. Rick, sorry you had to wait through this whole meeting. I just thought of that. So,
Move to approve.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? This is Soiree's reopening into the Pick and Save mall on the end, that would be the west end of the little strip there. So,
I have a question.
Oh, yes.
When do you plan on reopening? I miss it.
When's your reopening?
Well, we were planning on staying, and then we have a discussion with the city for some incidental, so hopefully in March.
All right. Any other? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Review of reports. Included in your reports in your packet is the Test Corners Volunteer Fire Department's quarterly year-end revenues and expenditure reports. This is one of the questions or one of the things that we were trying to get to you guys. It has been provided to the city quarterly all along, but there was requests from the aldermen, so we're going to kind of throw it into reports here quarterly as we get them, so you have them.
Alderman Gilby.
Yeah.
I have one question. I think one of those mentioned $175,000 payment for the, say, work from the beginning of the year to now. Has that payment been made? I know it was requested in there.
Have we paid that? It's on, it was on vouchers.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Any updates from any of the aldermanic liaisons on any of the committees? Can you read the motion for closed session? Yes.
Following conclusion of consideration of the above portion of its regularly scheduled agenda, the Common Council will meet to vote on a motion to convene in closed session for discussion action relative to purchase of budgetary approved public safety equipment for the Muskego Police Department and discussion of employment personnel matters relating to the implementation of said equipment by specific law enforcement employees and to take such further action as may be appropriate with respect to such matters. A closed session for the above purpose is authorized pursuant to the provisions of WIS Stat 19.85 Sub 1 Sub E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, and WIS Stat Section 19.85 Sub 1 Sub C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, and performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Upon conclusion of the closed session, the Common Council will reconvene in open session to consider its public agenda, including motions to recommend approval or rejection of the above listed deliberations or any of the public agenda items that have not been acted upon.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Alderperson Wolf.
Yes.
Alderperson Hamel.
Yes.
Alderperson Decker.
Yes.
Alderperson Bryce.
Yes.
Alderperson Dilgy.
Yes.
And Alderperson Madden.
Yes.
All right, we are in closed session. We will be only coming out of closed session for their motion to adjourn. We will not be taking action on anything in closed session or afterwards. Everyone have a great evening. Thank you for coming. We appreciate your input.